Welcome to the ROCA Podcast.
Today we have with us Burgess Carbari and Aaron Abram, two avid gaming enthusiasts. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. How are you doing, Ray?
Thanks for the introduction. I'm good too.
Yeah,
Well, I'd say we'll start, right?
yeah. Let's get right into it then.
Well, you go
So,
first.
what is your guys' belief? Do you prefer PC or console? Burgess?
I mean, you can't just ask that right off the bat. It really depends from person to person. But me personally, when I was younger, I used to prefer console a lot. But now I'm starting to move to PC just because, I mean, it's a lot cheaper in the long run, to be honest. And it's a lot more versatile. And when it comes to controlling your game, and it's, to be honest, I find consoles easier to maintain. But in my opinion, I think PC is really getting better and a more viable option for most gamers.
Yeah. Also depends like what kind of game you're playing.
Yeah,
for
that's
example,
true.
on shooters, like computer's way better. Like you have way better aim. It's way easier to aim than on a controller.
Yeah, and I'd say for like when it comes to like vehicle driving or racing games or something like that, I think a controller would be a lot better to use.
Yeah, definitely. So what is your guys' favorite game? Like on PC or console, doesn't matter.
Right now?
Of
Like
of
at
all
the
time or
moment?
right now.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Or tell us right now and tell us all time as well.
Mine's Warzone because everyone's in the hype and it's pretty fun. On
Yeah,
console, by the way. Yeah.
Right now, I think probably either GTA or probably Doom Eternal. I've been having a lot of fun with those.
GTA is like a classic. It's like it doesn't matter how old the game gets. It's still so much fun.
Yeah.
But then of all time, I'd say my favorite video game is probably Batman Arkham City, just because it was like it was the first video game like that actually had like a really good story to me, and I was like, wow, okay, I did not know that like a video game could be having that good of a
Was it-
story.
Did you play it in console or PC?
No, yeah, I played on my PS3.
So do you
Okay.
guys like think that in a game like the story is more important or the actual gameplay is more important?
I would say, it goes hand in hand.
It depends. It depends what you're going. Like it depends obviously what kind of game it is. When it comes to like Call of Duty or GTA, I'd obviously say multiplayer is more important. But if you, it comes down to what kind of game.
Preferences, honestly.
Yeah.
Because an example of that question. If you guys have heard of this game called The Last of Us,
Mhm.
right? So the second one came out, right?
Yeah.
And the mechanics, the gameplay itself was amazing, right? It's top notch, but the story wasn't really well. It wasn't. Not a lot of people liked it, right? So, but some people did. So it's all about perspective, I guess, to answer that question.
So what do you think about like stories that are like really graphic or brutal? Like that one mission in Warzone, where you had to raid this terrorist's house, and then you didn't have to, but you had the ability to kill the baby in the
Yeah.
room. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think that's a good thing like to include, or do you think that makes it more interesting, or does it make it more like gross in a way? Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, go ahead and actually.
Okay,
God.
In my opinion, I think that those details, I feel like them going the extra effort shows that they're putting more detail. And to me, I think it's I like it. I like that. I mean, not the killing the baby part, but like
No,
the fact that they added that detail.
I
I
really
think
like.
we'd all be a bit worried if you liked
But-
killing the people.
But do you mean like the more like not the more okay, I guess the morality quote unquote side of things when you come to like when of giving those choices, right?
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, like
Yeah.
you don't have to do it, right? You're giving
No,
an
no.
option, but if you
It's-
do it, you're gonna lose.
See,
Yeah.
there, because there are like games that include like some sort of like morality and reputation system. Like, have any of you played Red Dead Redemption 2?
I've heard
Yeah.
of it, but I didn't actually never
A bit
played
of
it.
it, yeah.
It's essentially
Russian
the entire story of the game is about this. It's set in the Wild West, and it's about this cowboy who's essentially he's dying, right, because of some sort of disease, TB, I think, and then he essentially spends his last few months of his life trying to redeem himself from all the because he's part of a gang and he's done a lot of bad things in his life, so he's essentially trying to redeem his entire all of his misdeeds in that short amount of time when he realizes he's dying. And then in that game, you have a reputation system. So depending on whether like if you just go around shooting everyone, obviously you're not gonna be well liked by a lot of people, and then your ending changes, like your game
Right.
ending changes.
So it's like similar to like Sims. I don't know if you ever played Sims, but like it shows like the happiness of the people, like how happy they are right now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to kind of maintain their happiness in a way.
I mean, that brings me to the question. So we're discussing like the morality of video games and like how they give certain options to kids, like babies or whatnot. And so, do you guys think that the whole violence through that's there within games, whether that actually holds any water in the argument that violent games make children violent or whatever shit like that? I mean, because I know Burgess pretty well, and I know you've been playing video games pretty much all your life, but you seem like the last person who I would call violent by
Because
any means.
Wait, are you
I
saying? Wait, are you saying is violence in video games like can that be held accountable in real life?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
I
I'm
mean-
saying, like,
That we hear a lot of like people saying that like
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want my kid playing violent games etc.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't want my kid to be yeah, and so like what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Okay, I see if you give like a Call of Duty game to like an 8-year-old or a 7-year-old, I think that's not the right thing to do. But if like for example, let's say someone is a bit older and a bit more like mature, smarter, they can use
Yeah.
instead of video games like affecting their behavior, they can use it as sort of way to like de-stress and like vent out their frustrations, I guess, if you think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
In
that
my
makes a lot of
opinion-
sense.
Yeah, in my
Because-
opinion,
yeah, go on.
when people keep on bringing up the like violent games brings out like these violent tendencies on people, I don't think that's really true. Maybe if you were like like Burgess said, if you're 8 years old when you don't really know
When an impression can be made on you, I think that's
yeah, when an impression can be made on you and then you show violence through a media like games, then there could be an impact. But I think for the majority of person's life who plays the games, I don't think actually violent games actually affects you. I mean, if you for example take America, right? They play a lot of games, right? And there's a lot of violence that actually happens there, right? So you could say that okay, violence in video games affects how can bring out violent tendencies. But then if you take Japan, which has got the more people playing video games, it's got the most number of people playing video games, and it has the least amount of like school shooting. It clearly shows that it really depends on perspectives,
and
the
the
culture,
environment.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the
I
environment.
mean,
Culture?
obviously, if you let's say Call of Duty, right, you're gonna shoot someone, or like people go like try hard and knife everyone. You're not actually gonna go out in real life and knife
Yeah.
everyone.
No,
because you
obviously
feel
not.
like it.
No, obviously not. But there are definitely people who take it a bit far and actually end up doing drastic things because of video games, like
But
the
then,
stuff that
but then I'd say, but then that's because of their like
Of the
maybe
person
mental
themselves.
health, or
Okay,
maybe
yeah.
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
like
I would
I
say
maybe
that.
they're like
No,
not
no,
fully like
I get
Yeah, I
you.
think in those
I agree
cases
with
that person may have like a predisposed condition or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Right, but Burgess, when you said like a certain age for like the violent video games, so now pretty much all the violent video games they say 18 plus, but we still got people under 18 playing it, right? And
Yeah,
so what do you think is like a more? Do you think it's like 12 or 14, or what do you think would
I
be
mean-
more realistic? So you said like obviously if you give it into the hands of an 8-year-old, that would be extremely impressionable. And
But
so
see,
until what age do you think that would be?
where an impression can be made from a video game. I think that depends. That also depends on the age, but also like their prior experience with video games. Like if they have been playing up until that point. If they haven't, then odds are, and if they don't really enjoy that kind of stuff, odds are they'll just forget about it. If they play like a Call of Duty game for the first time, they'll forget about it. But if they really enjoy it at a young age, or like Grand Theft Auto, like I I don't think I've met an 8-year-old who plays Grand Theft Auto yet, so that's good. But I don't know. I don't think there's a specific age where an impression can be made, because it really depends on the game itself. Because if it's just something that has like minimal dialogue and more action, like I mean I'm not saying Call of Duty exactly, but like most kids like play Call of Duty on a multiplayer where there isn't really much like of a story or a goal per se or like an end game. It's more just get into a match, find as many people as you can and just eliminate them. So I guess if there's no like if there's no like background, how do I say it? Like there's no context if there's no like story or any some sort of
Context to the violence.
not
I
just
agree with
context,
that. I agree.
like you can't really, there's no characters. It's not really a story to you. It's more like an arcade machine kind of thing at that point.
Yeah,
I
like
guess.
COD is basically an arcade, right? You die, you come back online, you come back, and then you die, right? There is no consequences. But like for example, GTA, right? I would say there definitely would be there should be an age limit for GTA.
Especially single player.
Yeah, because you do crimes that like I guess do have consequences, is like in story wise. Whereas in COD, right, I don't think an age really matters really in that type of games. But so like yeah, I kind of agree with Burgess. It really depends on the games. So for like COD, it doesn't really matter. It can be like age 12 or something like that. But a game like GTA where there are you do so many dire actions that actually that have consequences, then I feel there should be.
I feel like if a game had a morality system and a younger person played it, it would be a lot better because they'd be inclined to actually make their character like a bit better in terms of like, I mean, I know it's still like a fictional world to them, but like it would just make them feel like a little bit better if they made their character like this really nice and good guy when they have the option to make him like a terrible guy. I mean, there are definitely people who just,
Red Dead. What's it
yeah,
called?
like Red Dead
Red Dead,
Redemption.
yeah.
I mean, you can also compare it to like movies, like many movies are, 16 plus, 18 plus, but we all know that like 12-year-olds watch 18 plus movies,
Yeah, no, you'll never be able
like,
to stop.
horror movies or stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
You'll never be able to stop like kids from buying video games they shouldn't. I think.
Yeah.
'Cause-
especially when you have a PC, you can just download it and, you don't have to like prove that you're not 18.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because of the fact that like almost anyone, no matter how old they are, can get any game they want, do you think like video game companies and video game creators have like a more of a responsibility in a way to prevent that from happening?
I don't think it's the. I don't
Maybe
think it's-
more of a responsibility to like you said with Red Dead, have like that moral thing there. You have the choice of either like being like the good guy or the bad guy or whatever.
Okay, I don't think it's the developer's responsibility exactly because they're responsible for actually making the game and like making a more immersive world and a really fun experience. I think it's more so the retailer or the seller's responsibility if you want to make sure.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't mean like the actual people that create the game. I meant like the people that distribute it and market it and all that stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. It would be more the retailer's responsibility, but yeah.
All right, now next question is like, let's say, okay, all of us at one point played some game. Like Ray played some video games, I play video games, everyone here plays video games. But let's say, because there's this big gaming PC culture, of like building your own PC, spending thousands of dollars, building like an extreme gaming PC. And if you had to explain it to someone who's not into gaming at all, like he never played a video game before, he just has a basic computer that gets his work done, how would you justify saying like, oh, I need to build this $2,500 gaming PC build? Like how'd you say, that's why I did it?
I would compare it to like a car, for example. When you like people like upgrade their cars and like really like jack them out, and they always want like the best. I mean, I don't think this is the right term, but like hardware for car.
Yeah, like
you get what I
upgrade.
mean, right?
Yeah, like the best
Exactly.
engine, the best
The
tires,
best
everything.
exactly. So I guess it would be the same case for a PC. And plus, some people like get gaming PCs and not just for gaming. Like some people require like that heavy amount of processing power and
like video
stuff.
editing or music
Not
production.
just video, like
For movie editing,
coding-
they use
coding and
gaming
stuff like
PCs.
that. Yeah.
I would say in that context, gaming like if a person came up to me with like a Mac, right, just doing its work, and asked me, is there any point of buying a gaming PC, right? I would say it's more about whether you actually like, would you spend time in games, right? Because let's talk about PC. In PC, different laptops will produce a different type of look to the game, right? Because some laptops can't handle the full extent of a game, so you have to reduce the quality and stuff like that. So whereas if you buy a gaming PC, you can enjoy the full extent to it. So when suggesting a PC to a person or a gaming PC, it's all about whether or not that person would want to, you know, experience that entirety of that game. So it's all about your, I guess, how motivated or
How much
you
time
know,
you're willing to spend on
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Also, just because like the term is gaming, but there's no actual term for a $2,500 PC. We just call it a gaming PC, but it's not limited to gaming. You
No,
can.
obviously not.
No,
It's
of
just
course
it's just a term to market it better, I guess, because
Mhm.
like many people buy gaming PCs, but then as you said, actually just edit videos or like movies or produce music or do 3D animations on it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just a term to market it better, I guess.
I think the gamer connotation comes with all like the flashy lights and the
Yeah, RGBs
like the
and yeah,
aces.
Yeah, yeah.
and the crazy
What-
component names.
Yeah, that's true.
What is the appeal of the like flashing rainbow light keyboards? I never understood that.
I mean,
Like I
it
get
makes,
the
Yeah,
light
same.
on the keyboard. I get the light on the keyboard could be an aesthetic, but like why rainbow colored out of like all?
no, like I guess
Is it
'cause,
like a pride movement thing? Is that what
no,
they're
No,
trying to
no,
show
no,
for?
definitely
Or-
not a pride
It
movement.
looks nice. But look, it gives it, I guess it like I've seen like actually like proper nice like gaming PCs. It gives it sort of like an ambience light kind of where it's just like a breathing light in the corner of the room, and it's nice looking. But like I agree, like I don't think RGB should be on everything. Like yeah, keyboard's fine, mouse is fine, but like if you have an RGB headset, like I'm sorry, but that just doesn't look nice.
I guess it's just I mean many people have RGBs, including me, in their room without even having like a flashy gaming PC. I guess it's just
Ambience. maybe.
yeah, it's just to create a nice atmosphere, while gaming, like not having just a blank white, wall
Mm.
in front of you, but like having nice colors, they change up a bit,
Yeah, but I mean, no one's really looking at the keyboard while they're gaming, or are they? I don't
No, but
have
it's for
see.
you.
I think it's all about the ambience, right? Because like, having those different colors and stuff, it makes you feel like you're in the zone. You're in a different
See,
world.
I'm not. See, like like I don't mind
Yeah, you
RGB,
go, you go.
but I don't think you should have like a plain
Well?
like completely like very bland sort of setup. I guess like there should be a little bit of color. I mean, like
Yeah, I mean it depends. Like not many people can afford like
no, that's true. That's true.
RGB water cooled,
No, that's
PC
that's
stuff.
different.
But like I mean, RGB strips, like basic strips that you can mount on the desk. It's not that hard. You can get some for like 60 dirhams on Amazon, I'm pretty sure. I can get like more, like I have this RGB thing which is like voice controlled and Wi-Fi controlled. Like even when I'm out of the house, I can like turn it on from outside the house with my phone. These are more expensive, but like you can get basic ones for so cheap. So, it's a nice to have. Let's say like that.
Do you use it when you game?
Sorry.
Like do you use those lights when you game, or is it just like
I
do you
just-
use it
I just-
specifically for gaming?
No, I just turn them on when it's like getting dark. I just turn them on just to have a nice
It's just
lighting in my room.
see, I'd compare it like again to like a paint job on a car. It makes it it
Yeah.
makes it look nice. That's pretty much it. Doesn't add any performance, obviously. but, like
Okay, but like
I mean-
because we talked. Yeah, go on, Ray.
I know it doesn't add any performance directly, but you could argue the fact that maybe the lights helped you like get in the zone or whatever, and maybe that could help performance.
Yeah, like saying you like get in the zone, you're more focused, like you're kind of in a state where you just in a different world, I guess, and that helps you concentrate more. Maybe that's what you could argue,
I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
That's
Right. I have a question.
Yeah, go on.
Now, there's gaming PCs and there's gaming laptops. What would make someone pick one over the other? Is it
I
just
mean-
like the amount of time, or
90.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, I'll go. Okay, so I was in that dilemma actually. Because I'm gonna be going to uni in a few months or so, and I'm a person who likes to game every now and then, right? And I was now the thing about what I've come to realize about the difference between a gaming laptop and a gaming PC, right? A gaming PC, like I said before, it will allow you to access the full reach of a game. You know, like you can see the best qualities of the game, the look of the game. Whereas, but the problem is it's expensive and it's not that mobile, right? Whereas a laptop, right? I feel like if I'm going for a uni, you know, in my context, when I'm going to uni, I like I would like a laptop that can do it all, right? I can study, I can watch video. I mean, you can do that in the gaming PC, but like it's mobile and you can play. But the problem with gaming PC laptops is that it's not going to be as powerful as gaming PCs. So those are the advantages and disadvantages.
And
So
also
it depends.
they're not as price efficient. Like, you know, you could get a laptop with, let's say, those components for, let's say, 5,000 dirhams, but then you can build a PC with the same components for, let's say, 3,000. So gaming
Yeah.
laptops are usually way more expensive. So
Yeah, I agree. Because it's mobile, that's why.
Plus, the next problem is, you know, the battery. You know, you
Yeah.
have a finite
Yeah,
battery
yeah.
that you'll need to charge and everything.
Plus, if you play just on your battery, I don't think that's a good idea, because laptops, what they do is that when you unplug them out of the
They
charger,
go on
off the
power
charge, right?
saver, right?
They don't just go into power save mode. They downscale like all their performance.
Yeah.
They downscale their entire performance just to save battery. So if you want to play video games on battery, like that's just kind of, you're sort of not even getting the full potential of the laptop, let alone
Yeah.
having the full potential of a gaming PC.
Yeah,
I mean,
every time
it is
I
also-
game.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Sorry, every time I game with the boys in GTA, I have to always constantly put it for charge, because, like Bert just said, it downscales everything.
I mean, you can get a gaming laptop with the same performance of a full-on gaming PC, but then you'd have to pay like twice the price, you know. And the next problem is because you said you were in a dilemma of like getting a laptop because it's more mobile.
Yeah,
If you get like a 20,000 dirham gaming laptop, you know, it'll be chunky and fat and like big
Yeah,
and weigh
exactly.
like 5 kg, and it's not nice. Like, for example, like let's say MacBook Pro, right? I'm getting the MacBook Pro 16-inch like in September, right? It's like amazing, like components and everything, but it's also like slim and nice and like looks elegant, you know. So I guess that's a big difference to, like, you know, gaming PC.
I guess
and-
mobility would be the biggest, break off point. You know, like whether or not you would buy a PC or a laptop, right? Mobility would make sense, right?
But
Right now,
if mobility is the issue, sorry, Oliver, but if mobility is the issue, Aaron, like, do you think it's possible for them to create a laptop with, like, obviously not
Wheels.
to the same extent as a PC, no, but a laptop that's got like a lot of the same features as a PC or can run
oh no, there is
at the same
There
right.
are,
There are, yeah.
there are.
There is,
definitely.
but
It's just
you'd
way
pay
expensive.
you'd pay 20,000-30,000 dirhams for a laptop, and I don't think anyone does that.
Oh shit, that's a lot of money.
Not 20, 30, but it's definitely
It's
considerably more
expensive.
expensive than
It's
PC.
expensive.
I mean, there is 20,000 dirham laptops. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
If you
there
go
are,
on
there are.
Amazon and sort high to low, you know.
I've
Yeah. All right.
seen you've done your
So
research already.
next thing is like, you know, gaming itself, you know, with the boys, it's pretty nice in the evening, you know, playing into the night. But there's also a big community, you know, on Reddit. There's big subreddits, you know, there's a big YouTube gaming community, so many gaming channels, you know. You have, you know, big, like, do you think that the community of gaming made what gaming is right now?
It improved it, I would say, or it helps. It goes well with it, I guess. You know, because every time you have a question, every time you have a query, or you want to find something out about the game, you can always just go back to the community and ask someone. You know, like that's a major part of Reddit is, like, you know, just simply asking questions and, you know, and just sharing out memories and what happened, and that, you know, improves the entire gaming environment, I guess.
Yeah. And also, like, when you start a fresh game, like I started playing Apex. I don't know if you know, guys, if you
Yeah,
guys
we
know
know.
the game.
Yeah.
I started playing it a month ago. Like I love the game, but I didn't have any idea what I was doing in the first game. So I just hopped on YouTube and just watched a couple videos explaining how everything works. And you get into it, and then it just makes it easier instead of like playing 5 rounds, being frustrated because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I
So
think
Yeah, I agree with
YouTube's
that.
basically started off like YouTube actually started off and got like a lot of content creators from gaming and like a lot of viewers from gaming too. So you see
yeah, I
most of
guess,
the
but
most of the major YouTubers like
Or
PewDiePie and like
gamers.
KSI, they all started off as gamers, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like I
But I
think in
think
that sense, it's had a more wholesome effect than we probably give it credit for.
Hmm.
But I have to say that most of I don't want to say YouTube is dying out as a gaming community, but most of it is shifting to Twitch,
Mm.
or you could say YouTube live
Yeah.
streaming, I guess. But Twitch is like more the biggest live stream thing right now. So I think it's more shifting to like a live stream community, if that makes sense.
Yeah, actually, I have a question. Like, I'm actually confused with this because, like, in my opinion, I prefer, like YouTube videos. But like you said, the YouTube platform or get the gaming platform, people who enjoy gaming content are actually switching towards the live stream, thing. Why do you think that is? Because I'm so confused. Like,
I
do you know
think
why
maybe-
people
I guess people want to feel like more immersed when they see someone else playing with it, and they can. It's
like in real time?
Yeah, in real time, pretty much.
I guess the important word here is live, because
Yeah.
it is literally you're watching them at the same time, but you're just in a different room. I guess you're watching them, and it creates like a more personal connection with the watcher. Because like on YouTube,
okay.
you just post a comment, under video, and you might hope that he answers, right, and like answers your question or something. But on on Twitch, you have a live chat, and he sees every single question, and there's a higher chance that you actually interact with him on a more personal level, which is important when
okay.
trying to build like a fan base, to interact with them
Mhm.
and not like completely ignore them.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I think the
So-
whole fascination behind anything live stream is just, I think as humans we just like having things happen or
Connectivity.
things unfold. Yeah, not just connectivity, but I think it's, or at least personally for me, I think it's always more interesting and like I get more hooked if I don't know what's gonna happen next or if I can't physically just fast forward to see what's happening next. I think it's like the same with sports. Like there's a reason why people watch live sports more than highlight reels. Because like nobody wants to watch a game knowing the outcome, right? You want to see what's about to happen. And I think it's probably the same with like gaming and why maybe Twitch is overtaking YouTube and like live streams are becoming more popular. Is that people want to be like immersed as it happens rather than
Hmm.
wait for like just watch something and
Same
But
case
also
with
Yeah,
I
that's a
think,
good-
but I also think, guys, that it's not only the the connection with the fans. I also think it's because like the monetary gain, because on Twitch you have like way more possibilities to make more money.
Hmm.
So
Wait,
like
Wait,
what
for
are you saying,
actually?
Rex?
because like for example on Twitch, right? If let's say Ray is a famous streamer, right, and I'm a fan of his streams, there's so many ways I can support him like monetarily. Like I can give in a donation of like let's say $10, right, and then if
Mhm.
70,000 people watch his stream and like 10% of those people donate him $10 every time he streams, that's already a lot of money. But then also you can
The
can give
sub.
subs. So like you
Mhm.
pay monthly to have special features like I don't know, special stickers or exclusive content, or I don't know, you can join a Discord server or something and you pay like
Yeah,
10
yeah.
bucks a month, and if like 3,000 people have that sub,
It's a
that
lot of
adds up.
money. Yeah.
Like the big streamers that have like 50,000 subs, 100,000 subs on Twitch, and that's crazy because 50,000 people pay, let's say $5 a month to have that exclusive. So that's like I think that's also a big part why, because on YouTube like YouTube doesn't pay that well. I think we all know
Yeah.
and or heard from other YouTubers that YouTube doesn't pay that well. So I guess they're trying to find a way to gain their monetary like income,
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes total sense. Because in
Yeah.
YouTube, it's like if you're like famous or like, very big, will you then actually start to make money, like as a job?
Yeah, it's
Wise.
harder to start. It's harder to start in YouTube, I think, because there's already such a
Saturated.
Oversaturated.
saturated. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's already so many like smaller channels like fighting to get up to the
Trying to
top
get
spot.
big. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know about you guys, but I imagine, like, let's say Ninja, right? The famous Fortnite gaming guy, I could imagine it being a hard job. I mean, not physically hard, but like imagine
Mentally.
like 8 hours a day streaming every single day, just sitting in front of your computer for 8 hours straight, and like just playing that one game. I feel it could be kind of exhausting in a way.
Also, there's a chance that those 8 hours might not even get seen by that many people.
Exactly, and especially when you're a small streamer, like let's say you have 3 viewers on average and you play for 5 hours a day, it might just get frustrating and be like, oh, why am I even doing this,
Yeah, but Oliver, I mean, that's like pretty much anyone else's day job. It's like 8 hours. You go to work at 7 in the morning, come back, whatever, 4 or 5.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
so it's kind of like that, but he's getting to do something he likes.
I mean,
And
it's not
maybe
like hard. Yeah.
Maybe the fact that he's got to do it like every day, 8 hours, and it becomes kind of like a job scenario, that could
Becomes
possibly
tedious.
make it tedious, and now he doesn't like it as much. But I would still think if if I'm a gamer and if I can make money gaming, then even if it's less money than like working a day job at an office, I would do that.
I mean, it's by far easier than working at a construction site. It's way easier than lifting.
Not even the construction side, but like you were saying how like he's like in front of the PC like for 8 hours a day. I mean that's pretty much like most corporate jobs really, except you're in front of a laptop 8 hours a day inputting numbers. But Ninja is like shooting stuff. So.
But one thing I do have to say is I don't know if you heard about it, but this one Twitch streamer killed himself a couple days ago. I don't know if you heard about it.
Oh
No, I haven't heard about it.
I didn't hear about it.
It was like one of the first Twitch streamers to get famous, and because how people are in the internet, they're anonymous kind of, and they're reckless. They don't care what they write. So on one stream, everyone just wrote "kill yourself" as a joke, but then he actually, he took it seriously, and he started getting depressed and everything, and then. One day he just stopped this stream, like daily, and then next day we all got the notification that he died, in the news, and killed himself. So
how old was he?
He was I'm not sure. Let me check right now. He was
it a
above
famous
20,
one?
pretty sure.
I mean, I think
famous
this sort of stuff always saddens you when you hear about it, and like you always wonder like what could we do to prevent it. But I think that's probably like the one downfall of having like a live stream with a live chat is like as much as it feels immersive and like you're there with the person.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
You're still anonymous, and if you say like nasty shit like that anonymously, and it's got that whole immersive feeling, that the person streaming almost feels like people in his room sitting. Yeah, I mean, it's like he probably feels that because it's so immersive, the same way the viewers feel like they're sitting in the room watching him play, he probably feels like they're sitting in the room telling him to go kill himself, and I think that is obviously a major negative, but like it's
I just looked it up. I don't know if you guys know the name. His name was Rekful. And he was 31 years old when he killed himself. 6 days.
Yeah, that's almost like a middle-aged man, really, if you come to think about it. It's not even like an early 20s or something, but it just goes to show how ruthless almost sometimes it can be. But like they may not even have intended it, and it may just have been a joke. But like at the end of the day, I think we have to be more careful with our words online.
That's not just like a disadvantage when it comes to live streams of gaming. That's just as the internet as a whole. That's one of the biggest disadvantages that comes with it.
Yeah.
In the end, like a famous Twitch streamer is still a famous person in the end, right? So like all the other famous people in the world, he you have to fight with people being
Negative.
reckless on the internet, or getting threats or something. So
I mean, you're always gonna have hate comments no matter who you are.
Yeah.
But I think some people definitely take it too far. Like I think
Yeah.
like Aaron was talking about at the beginning, The Last of Us 2 was like received negatively by some people. The voice actor for one of the characters was getting death threats like every other day or so, and it was
Jeez.
really
Yeah.
Yeah. That
like I
that's
mean
a big
that's a bit
problem.
much.
Definitely. Do you think there's a way we could like police it in a sense, or to help prevent it?
I mean that comes that you can't check every single person. You
I mean,
definitely like
I feel like a way that could be happening, that could actually potentially, solve, quotation mark, solve this thing, is making the viewers understand the entire situation. For example, like The Last of Us 2, right? It had a bad story, or what was perceived as a bad story, because it wasn't exactly what the viewers or the players wanted, right? Okay, spoiler alert, okay? But um a very big character dies immediately in the first hour, right? And that immediately, gets negative reactions from the people. And so people will have a, like, a horrible connotation towards the game, and then they will direct it towards the people, or I mean the voice actor. But I feel like if the players, knew the entire story, like the the reasons why, um what is called the reasons why the creators did what they did, like how the entire thing played out together. Like I feel like, I'm basically trying to say, like, empathy, feeling
Yeah, I
what
get
the
what you
other
mean.
person, like I feel like that could definitely reduce the hate towards people, because when you're anonymous, people just, you don't really know anything. You're just sending in a message, right? For example,
Yeah, and
James
you can't really
Charles.
be held responsible for it either. I think
Yeah, yeah.
like a step they could do, like a step in the right direction, would be not making it anonymous, you know.
mm,
Oof. Yeah, that
And I
also could
think
be.
that could be like, so then when they see their name up on their screen saying "Go kill yourself," they'd be like, "That was maybe a bit too harsh. Maybe I should delete that or something," you know.
Yeah.
But
So
I think, the internet's been, okay, it hasn't been around for so long, but it's been around for a couple of years now. And
Hmm.
the hating culture, it didn't start in Twitch, it's we also had it on YouTube. We've had a couple YouTubers kill themselves because of that. We've had,
Twitter.
there's Twitter, exactly. We have Twitter, Reddit, everything, So I think at this point it's so hard to bring it to an end.
pinpoint.
And especially the thing is, let's bring back Twitch, right? When Twitch started, people could do anything they want in their live stream, they could swear as much as they want, they could show whatever they want, without any consequences. But now that Twitch is such a big platform, they had to bring in community guidelines and rules like, okay, you're not allowed to show this, you're not allowed to say this, and they're being really harsh. I'm pretty sure you've heard
Yeah.
of people getting banned for reason or for no reason even. So I think if they're being so harsh to the streamers who bring Twitch the money, they don't get 100% of what they earn. Twitch takes a percentage, obviously. So if they being so harsh on the streamers themselves, I think they also should be as harsh on the community,
Yeah,
on the
definitely.
viewers.
mhm.
Yeah.
And I don't
Makes
think it
sense.
would be too hard to be that like quote unquote harsh on the community, because it isn't everyone that is like this. It's really just like a few bad apples.
Minorities.
The
Yeah.
community, yeah, the community as a whole is, like you guys mentioned before, is really helpful, and it's just almost wholesome to a certain extent, right? And so it's just a few bad people, and in order to tackle that, you need to probably set more like ground rules, I presume.
Yeah. Man, this whole thing got a bit depressed. So let's ask you the big question now. So like again, imagine you're trying to explain something to a non-gamer, right? And people spend hours and hours and nights of nights just gaming the whole night. How would you try to explain like what makes gaming so addictive, or what makes it so immersive that you want to play whole night and pull an all-nighter?
I mean, it's an
Well,
escape from the real world, first of all, as a way
yeah.
to like escape. Like if you're having like a bad day, I mean, like you can for me at least, if I have a bad day, I know if I sit down and like play one of my favorite games, I won't, and then maybe that day won't end really that bad. And plus, some games like are not like, it's not even just a way to stress. Like some games are like super immersive. Like they essentially they're really like well written, and you feel like it's an actual living, breathing world. Like
The
there's
immersiveness.
it's the immersiveness,
Definitely, yeah.
and like how your actions can change like the outcome of certain storylines and stuff like that. And it's really interesting to see just like how much work some people have put into making these kinds of games, and to create an experience that everyone can essentially enjoy.
And I think
I
it's
think
also like
as a whole,
Yeah.
I think as a whole, it's a much better coping mechanism for like stress,
Stress.
or like
yeah.
if you're frustrated. Like I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, like go work out or like read or like self care or whatever." I mean, but like sometimes, I mean, like I love working out, but sometimes I really just don't, and like I want to play whatever, and it's not necessarily unhealthy. A lot of people say it is unhealthy. I mean, but it's
There is
only
a
unhealthy
limit.
if
There is a
Anything is
if you
unhealthy.
don't give
Yes.
yourself a limit. It has to be in moderation. So like even if you play longer hours, like 4 or 5 hours a day, but like probably cut it at around 5, maybe 6 tops, and that's
No, but,
like probably during summer vacations or something.
and also
You
I
know,
think
and so
I
you
still
know,
think even in
it's-
like,
yeah, go on.
no, you go ahead, it's okay.
Okay, so I think that it's also small details in games that make it maybe more immersive. Like okay, I'm pretty sure you guys heard of it. It's actually kind of funny, but also so dumb. Cyberpunk 2077,
Yes,
Yeah.
I know
where
where
you're
this is
allowed
going
to
already.
adjust the
I know
size
I
of
know.
your genitals. That's
what?
like
Say that
yeah,
again.
Yeah, that's the
it's like a
thing.
game coming out where you're allowed to adjust the size of your genitals, which is like it's so dumb.
Just
But
giving
because of
everyone
that,
an ego boost.
but because of that, so many memes have been created. The gaming community has created so many memes about this game that it's. I'm pretty sure they've made 10 times more sales than they're projected to have. Without same with PlayStation 5. People said it looks like a fridge, like a Wi-Fi router, and stuff like that.
Nowadays, things almost just market themselves.
Yeah.
I'm
so-
actually of the
Truly.
belief that Musk probably wanted that bulletproof glass or whatever thing to fail in his launch, and like because the uproar that came from that, and then people look at.
Yeah. Or have you
I
seen
think
the
things almost market themselves nowadays with the
Yeah,
internet
yeah.
because you've got such diehard fans for almost everything, like such hardcore fans that will go out and like take the effort to make memes
Yeah.
and spread them and share them and all that stuff. I think stuff almost markets itself right now. Like the way marketing has changed for anything online, especially gaming, over like not even the last 10 years, but maybe even the last 5 years. I think it's been like a great shift. It's constantly evolving, and the rate at which it's growing is exponential.
See, I think
I mean-
there are certain gaming
Continue,
communities.
Villages.
There are certain gaming communities that wait really like they keep like I don't know how to describe it. They keep waiting for like the next like installment in a game franchise, something like, for example, I don't know if you guys have heard of this game, but series, but have you guys ever heard of Half-Life?
Yes,
Yeah.
part 2
So-
is never coming. Never ever.
No, part
Part
no,
three,
not
part three.
part three, part
I mean,
three.
part 3, yeah.
Yeah, but like if that game were to ever get announced, I think I think that Valve, the company behind the games, would barely need to like spend any actual money when it comes to marketing, because people would honestly pick it up, by the way, because people have waited like over 10, 11 years for this game, I think.
Mm.
But wouldn't the hype be too like real? Like, wouldn't like a disadvantage of that be like it might be too overhyped, and then like when the actual game comes out,
It looks, see, that depends on the quality of the game itself and how it is kind of marketed
Well,
initially.
And I
But
think
didn't you-
no, but Aaron, I think I think when something's hyped like this, usually I think the game developers like know there's a hype, and so they know they're gonna put in a little more effort to make sure like the end product and the quality of the game is good.
It's the
I think,
same
like,
case.
I
It's
guess
the same.
so. Yeah.
It's the same case with Cyberpunk 2077. The game was announced in 2013, and then only up until 2018 they actually started. Only until 2018 they started to show actual like
Gameplay.
like gameplay trailers and stuff, and people would but like in those 7-8 years of waiting, people would like make memes like, oh guys, the release date's in the title 2077 and all that kind of stuff, and that essentially plus but honestly, like when it comes to Cyberpunk, the quality of the game and the developers behind it are pretty good anyway, so I think that's
But
also a
then-
plus point.
But then you could also argue like, if something's so hyped, is it possible that game developers can make the game live up to its hype?
I think
know-
that depends on the game series and the hype. Like The Last of Us 2, that's a good example. That was pretty hyped up for, and then now like people are very like split on the.
But that's because the game. I actually haven't played it, but I watched the gameplay and stuff. Okay, and I understand what happens. So to explain it all, okay, to people who don't know, what Last of Us 2, the second part of the game, did is it completely did everything. It took a new take on how to show emotions, empathy to the player. For example, in a normal game, you have a protagonist, you follow the protagonist, and then there's a villain, and you fight the villain, done, finished, right? And end of the story. But in Last of Us 2, it was such a new way of showing the story. But basically what they did is you're in the shoes of the villain, right? After the villain does such horrible acts to a beloved main character. So because they did this such like a daring step, everyone started showing hate instead of actually like understanding what they did. Because like the entire game was all about trying to show consequences and like everything. For example, how we might think that we're the good guys, but in the other guy's perspective, they might be the good guys.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
this newest perspective was like, I don't know, it's new, and people didn't like that, the new change, which is why it was
Yeah,
I think
that's often
change
like that,
always
but-
faces a bit of backlash and adversity, but eventually people will come around to it, I think.
yeah.
Right.
Well, that was a pretty good episode, I'd say.
Yep.
It was pretty interesting. Thank you guys for coming here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks. Yeah.
And well, we'll see in the next episode. See you guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.